Hi, welcome to Jesus Before Money. My name is Corey. Today is Saturday, June 28th, and this is going to be the altcoin crypto Saturday. First one. We're going to go through a bunch, so buckle up, grab something to eat, maybe a coffee, whatever you're into. But you can't start by talking about crypto without looking at the broader markets, right? So yesterday, which I thought was really interesting, is sure, yeah, we reached a new all-time high. Congratulations, right? And I'm not betting against the market. I'm not rooting that the market goes down. I'm not hoping for that. But you see this candle, it looks good, but literally we came back all the way on the day, refilled the gap, and pushed lower, right? If you go to the 10-day, you get a better picture of what happened yesterday. You know, there's some news that tariffs with Canada, and Canada was talking about China's relationship with the United States, and all of a sudden, look, boom, we pushed below lows, filled the gap over here, filled this gap, and pushed lower. I mean, we were put in a massive topping tail, and then not until 1500, so 3 o'clock Eastern time, 1 hour left before the markets closed, they stepped in and pushed this up. This was not retail. Retail on a Friday isn't sitting around buying stocks. I am. I mean, I sit there all day, watch my trades, but what I'm saying is the institutions pushed this up above the previous all-time high so they could get their pom-poms out and talk about this new all-time high in the markets. Another thing that I wasn't really paying attention to was the end of the month and the end of the second quarter, which is Monday. And so there's a lot of window dressing for everyone that has, financial advisors who are managing their money. You get a quarterly report. In that quarterly report, you're going to get a stock list of your portfolio for the month. And so they want to have some of those big time winners in their stock portfolio right at all-time highs. So I'm just really curious to see what happens by the end of next week. And I'll leave it there. But this was a last hour rally. Look at that candle. That started at the last 10 minutes of the trading session. Boom. They really pumped it up. Everyone was sitting there buying stocks in the last 10 minutes. This might have been some short covering, but this is very suspicious to me, okay? Now, Bitcoin. I thought maybe Bitcoin would have broke down, but, this move up, this breakout from really what was a little wedge pattern here, but we're chopping in a bull flag. This would be major resistance, okay? Probably a double top here on this little move about 108.380, maybe 108.5, okay? But I am expecting Bitcoin to have a pullback, okay? So just keep both of those in mind. Maybe a pullback on the SPX, maybe a pullback on Bitcoin. So the altcoins we're talking about, I'm not saying buy right now. I would hold. But if you wait till the very end of this video, there is a play I think that could 10x. We'll see. But we will be going through Ethereum, Solana, KAS, XRP, XLM, XCN, ADA, ZBCN, SHIB, and PIF. A lot to go through, so grab some coffee. All right, let's begin. ETH. I'm really not a fan of ETH. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that love Ethereum. But, I mean, we're coming to this point in time where it's a 50-50 on which way this is really going to break out. Either up or down to break. And look, this has already been broken, right? So, with everything else that's coming in this world, when we talk about the new digital age. I mean, I know Ethereum is going to play a big role in that, but I'm just curious what's going on. The only thing I think of is maybe this is a shoulder, right? Maybe we break somewhere. I don't know where we're going to end up. Maybe $500, form the head, and maybe we put in a little shoulder before we can move, right? But I'm not a fan on ETH. I'm not even going to really tell you to buy it. I mean, if you were to pick a level, I would definitely draw this line here, right? On the daily chart. We're on a daily chart now. See the 1 day in the back? I'll draw this trend line beginning from about March 20th. It's COVID low. And Ryan up. I mean, so what's interesting is that we do have this wedge pattern that's pointing to here by 17th of July. But I don't know. I'm just saying, you know, this is kind of on the struggle bus. So I would maybe a retest of this bottom, and then potentially this pivot to this pivot, maybe $838 as a bear case. As a bull case, you know, up to about 39.5 or 3,900. So just keep that in mind. You got to look at the charts, right? I don't have an exact idea about what's happening here. The other thing I see is, look at this M, and now we popped up to about the middle. Usually it'd be here for an A pattern, but this looks like an A, an M A pattern where this is going to come down. You know, if we get below this low, even a little bit, then we can round out ahead. So I'm not buying ETH. I think ETH might come in to this pivot to this pivot. Just be cautious about that possibility. And that would be at, oh, you can't even see. Hold on. I didn't realize you couldn't see over there. Now you might be able to see the levels. There you go. $838. Okay. So maybe $850. Just have that in the back of your mind when you're buying ETH. At least buy on this trend line here. Save yourself. Okay. Solana. There's a lot going on here with the Solana, but I kind of like this little parallel. For now, I just call it a trend line. I'm going to hide that. There's a lot going on. I'm just going to keep this, okay? What I see here. Cup and handle. And I even saw a cup and handle here. Cup and then handle with this little pivot. But this is probably a much larger cup and handle with, you know, more of a vertical trend line. I mean, that could have been a Pierce, but really, you know, it could be here. It could be there. It doesn't matter. But it really looks like a cup and then a handle for me, okay? So where's a good level to buy Solana, you might ask? I'm going to get rid of this trend line. Well, you know, this was a big downward sloping, you know, wedge here, and then it broke. So I like a retest of this double bottom right here, around $94. If not, you know, try to get in here. I don't really like these pivots, but I went from the very bottom up to the top, and these are your fib levels. So I'd at least buy at 117 if you can, but I would probably wait for this to come in just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Maybe a retest of this bottom right here, about $95. Especially if we're going to see a rollover, okay? I would just be careful. Be careful, right? Caspa is on the struggle bus. This is what I'm seeing here is at least this trend line to watch, right? And then maybe that top, maybe this is a parallel. I don't know. I'm going to get rid of that. But look, this is the wedge. A lot of charts had this wedge. We had a breakout. What's actually interesting about that, if I bring up my parallel channel again, not that one. Hold on. Excuse me. Let's see which one. No. That one. I'm going to get rid of that one. Okay. If I bring up this parallel, look where we tagged, the midline. So maybe that's significant. I don't know. But the only thing I would advise any Caspians out there is that we might get a little breakout here. I don't think it's going to be much. But I would expect maybe a double bottom here. You know, this 0.05 cent line. And if this wedge holds up, if this trend line holds up, great. But if not, you see this here, so it was resistance acted as support before we really moved up. So this is kind of your breakout line, right? We could see a pullback all the way down to about 4 cents, which I think would be a major double bottom, and then we could really rally. So I love Caspa, but with what's coming in this new crypto digital age, Caspa's a threat. Caspa's a threat to the CBD system, to everything else. I mean, so we just have to be cautious of that, you know. We're holding what the enemy does not want want to succeed, in my opinion. I love Casper. Look at my shirt. So just be cautious. Just know that we could see sub 5 cents. Okay, but I would start adding around this pivot here, this top. I would start adding around that top if we get back there, and then add a little bit more. Right? Don't go all in. If you wanted to invest $5,000 into this, maybe do 25 here, 25 there, and wait. Be patient. Patient. All right, XRP. I know a lot of people love XRP. And where's XRP going to? $10,000. Yeah, when is the only question, okay? So, yeah, I understand it's me for global payments and everything else, and that's cool. I don't disagree with that statement, but nothing goes in a straight line. If it did just go in a straight line, I'd be very cautious because that would be like a pump and dump, right? You have to build support. You have to move up in increments. But as we can see, this was a very nice wedge here that broke out. A lot of these charts we're going to start seeing now are wedges that I found that I think have a lot of potential. Okay, so wedge breakout, right? Now, it's been consolidating. It's been consolidating for a while. And a lot of people that hold XRP are like, when's it going to go to $10,000? Come on, I want to be rich. Well, you got to kind of wait a little, right? So what I do like is this is a bull flag. You've had a big move up, right? This is your flagpole. This is your flag. What's really interesting, if you just connect these pivot tops up here, and I kind of see a little parallel forming, which is bullish, signaling we're going to push out eventually. But the midline of the top part of this wedge is literally the midline of the parallel channel, which I just think is awesome how this thing works. So XRP is literally finding support on the top of this wedge line and just hugging it. Okay, now how long can it hug? You see this bottom here? If Bitcoin, the market rolls over, this will roll over. Okay, so this is my idea here, is to give you levels. I would not be a buyer at 195. It's been pierced way too many times. Okay, I would wait. I would take 195 off. Right? I would look to this 176 level. Okay, 176 if you were aggressive, but I would take that off. In reality, you see the shelf. Okay, we caught support here. I would look at this shelf, and then the only other trend line I could really find was we started here. Okay, we chopped through it. We came back, tagged it, chopped through it again. It was resistance. And then what I liked about this trend line, and it's not the best, but it was resistance and then support. And it kind of runs right through here, and it connects with this $147.50. Okay, if I'm adding to XRP, I'm going to wait a little bit longer, especially if I already have a bag. I'll wait till $1.50. And in reality, maybe we get down to about $1.10. But anyway, any touch of this bottom line right here, I'd be a heavy buyer. Okay. And then all I want to suggest is that the $1.50 level might be coming up, and to keep some money on reserve for that. Right? And if we really break down and come all the way down here, I mean, that would be catastrophic, but I would sell my house and buy XRP. Okay. All right, XLM. So now one thing I want to talk about is you see this pattern, okay? It's already broken out. My favorite play, my favorite personal play, I love Casper for what it stands for and what it is, but my favorite play is XLM. XLM is just like XRP. It's gonna participate heavily in this new digital age. But look at this. It has not broken out from its wedge. And if you do a measured move here from the bottom here to the top, that's about a whole dollar. Okay, so if you take the dollar and you add it from a breakout point, so you're looking at about $1.50. $1.50 when it's 20 cents. You're looking at a 10x move on XLM once this thing breaks out. I really like that. With XRP, I didn't do this, but when you look at this move, right, that was $2.80. Just call it $3. So from maybe 2 to 3, you're looking at $5. You're only looking at about a 2x move on XRP in the short term, right? You have to stair step. XLM, this could be a 10x move, which could be really big. Now, am I buying XLM right here? No. I actually bought my bag of XLM, my most recent bag. I think it was on this dip. And then it ran up, and I should have waited for this dip. But see, here, I would draw this trend line. Now, I don't think we're going to come back to this trend line because in time, this gets us super low. If we did, and it gets us below this upsloping trend line, that's been support for a long time. So I don't think that's possible. I don't think that's likely. I'll put it that way. But definitely this 20 cents area, it's already been pierced. And then any pullback to these pivots here. See, this pivot's kind of already been used up. So then this pivot puts us at about 16 cents. And then this one puts us at about 11. Or we could just look at this shelf right here, right? Around 15 to 13 cents, somewhere in this shelf, right? Oh, look, but also this is from this shelf here to here, right? This is already pierced. So this to me looks like we might fall again. When? I don't know. But I would not be buying here. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not buying here. I'm going to wait for, maybe a retest of this shelf here. We'll see. Okay, but I do like XLM once it breaks out, to really take off. XCN as well. I mean, look at this thing. Look at this. Look at this move here. This is unbelievable. You went up 2,076%. It's huge. Huge move. It's unreal, right? Boom. And then we've been consolidating, but look where we're at. We are getting very close to a breakout or a breakdown by July 18th, okay? So this is a move I think we should highlight. And look at this. I mean, when this was first launched, you're up here at 10 cents. Now you're at close to a cent. You could see a 10x move on this thing. It could be huge. So the only thing is if this upsloping trend line breaks, then watch out, right? So I want to go all in here. But the measure move on this, which I thought was interesting, from here to here is about 0.047. So call it 50 cents just to make it easy. So say we're both these meets, say we break out from here, 50 cents up. I don't know, puts us right at about 0.065. 0.065, okay? Now if you go look at 0.065, kind of corresponds to this tip here, and then this pivot here. So somewhere in here would be interesting, right? This could be a huge move. Probably about a 5 to 6x move coming in XCN if it does not break down. But I'm not buying here. I would wait for a retest of this upsloping trend line, which would only be a third hit. Third hit should hold, and hopefully we get a big rally. Hopefully. Okay, but I like XCN. ADA, Cardano. I like Cardano. Another wedge, right? Now this wedge goes up to $3, and right now we're down here around 56 cents. So you're looking at about a 6x move when this breaks out. That could be a home run. I mean, this bottom trend line, okay, if this breaks, this shelf right here, if this breaks, we're probably going to retest this bottom trend line. And that would, with all these, I think they're going to probably come in a little bit. In theory, if the stable coin bill comes out and all of a sudden we get super bullish on the altcoins, maybe not. But just maybe look at some of these pivots in here to set some buy orders, right? Maybe 0.046, maybe 0.4. If we can get down to, call it 0.4. If you can just get this to 0.4, that'd be a home run. And I would just hold, because I think this thing's gonna explode. This wedge pattern, these wedge patterns are like coiled springs. When this goes, it's gonna go. It's gonna rip. And where might it go? take your measuring tool from the top to the bottom. So you got a $3 move. So even if it went here, you're probably going to at least see double top. Then maybe, just maybe, you form a rounded bottom. Maybe you set up for a cup and handle. Kind of like Solana, right? And then you start chopping. Even though this seems bearish, in reality, what I showed you is this was a parallel channel. Let me see if I can find that parallel. Did I delete it? That one. Boom, 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 boom. And then we're chopping up here. It's kind of like the handle of the cup, right? Boom, and we're just forming this handle. So that could be something. It could be nothing. Just something to keep your eye on. And that would be a big move because I don't know if I talked about this, but you go from the bottom of the cup to the top. That's $250. So when this breaks out from here, you would have a $250 move, but you could either call it from here or from the top. But it'd probably take us up to $500 on Solana. 2x move. You're looking at a 2x move. So that'd be good. Okay. ADA. I like ADA. And then I brought up ZBCN. I'm a fan of it, but I brought this up because it was a huge mover, right? From April, you went up almost 900%. So I know there's a lot of people still holding their bag, which is cool. I get it. But another thing is, look at this wedge. We're forming a nice wedge, right? I would be a buyer at the bottom of this wedge, okay? Because right now, we've gone up, we chopped sideways, but it's starting to form lower inside bar consolidation, meaning another breakdown is coming, okay? Where do I think ZBCN is going? ZBEC is the shelf right here. Boom, boom, boom. And what's really awesome about that, we have a two-factor trade. It corresponds to the 0.786 Fibonacci from this low to that high, right? So 0.00215, 0.00215. I would start buying, and it kind of points right here to the very tip of this wedge. Maybe it breaks, but if we got down here, I would go in pretty heavy. If you're gonna if you're gonna put like $1,000 into this trade, I would probably do like $300 to $500, and then save the rest for any sort of pierce, maybe to this shelf. But this should be a lot of support right here for the next move higher, and I think it's gonna go back to double top. Okay. All right. I brought up SHIB because there's so many people saying it's going to $1. You're talking about from 0.0000009 to $1. That would be a home run. And possibly, possibly, I'm not saying it's not likely, but win. One thing to its credit is in this massive wedge pattern. We've seen wedges break to the upside like crazy. And then one thing I noticed here is as price was coming down, let's see, I thought I had some bullish divergence, maybe not. No, I don't. This is just kind of a dead duck. In fact, it's kind of breaking its support line. I wouldn't be buying here. Put in a double bottom here, but even pierce that. I would wait. If you're going to set up a buy order on this thing, I would be very cautious and just put 0.000001, or maybe to the bottom of that tip right there if you can see that price. I'd be very, 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 very cautious about SHIB. Yeah, it could go to the moon to $1, but the probabilities of that are not very likely. And there's a lot of people saying they've had prophetic dreams about this. When this breaks out, yeah, you're going to have a big run. So buying down here is probably a good bet. Another thing to consider is the bottom here, this shelf right here. And that puts you at that puts you at 0.0000005. So just be cautious, right? You can limp in here, just hold it forever, but just be very cautious about SHIB. Now. The one that I think, for whatever reason, is about to take off is PIF. This is unbelievable. I mean, look at this wedge. And look where we're at. We're right at the tip. It is unreal. It's unreal. So, is this going to take off? That is the question. I mean, we're going to know by next week if we're up or down. So PIF, what they're doing is they are providing a bunch of data to DeFi companies for trading purposes, right? If I just look up MasterCard, watch. Hold on. If I just look up MasterCard, where's the PIF? Let me just do MA. Maybe this is a bad example. Look at MasterCard USD PIF Oracle, right? So they're providing a lot of data for, I believe, what's going to be a crypto type of stock brokerage. And what's interesting about that is, you know, your current stockbrokers, you don't own the stock. It's not like you have a certificate from the company. It's just a fictitious thing that you have access to, right? It's kind of like your money in a bank. The bank goes bust, you lose your money. Sure, it's insured, but your money, especially in brokerage accounts, most of it's not insured. You don't have any rights to anything. At least at this, you could actually have some sort of crypto, you know, token in your wallet that says, hey, at least it's mine, whatever that was worth. But I can't think of any other thesis here other than this could see a big move. PIF. And I'm going to put some money into this. I'm probably going to throw $1,000 in it just to see. I mean, I'm not going to go all in. I never go all in. But you're looking at about $1 move, 93 cents or so. I mean, that could be huge. And especially when you're just about 10 cents. I mean, literally, this thing could see, you know, back to its highs, which it's going to struggle, right? It's not just going to go there in one big move, but we could see a big move on PIF. And I'll leave you with that. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you got this far and you want me to do some TA on a video for you, please leave a comment. Please at least leave a like. Let me know that somebody likes this stuff. And with that, I'll probably see you next week with some more altcoin crypto trading. Thank you. God bless you.